In Season 1, Episode 5 of Peppa Pig, called Hide and Seek, the scene kicks off on what seems like a perfect day in Peppa's world. But Peppa quickly shows her mean side. Instead of getting excited about the game, she starts moaning that George is way too easy to find.
But George isn't very good at hiding.
Imagine George trying his best to hide behind a chair, only for Peppa to sassily call him out with, "Really, George? That's it?" It really feels like Peppa is just being a bully in a moment that's supposed to be fun. She acts like she's the awesome hide-and-seek champion, while George is just trying to join in and have a good time. The way she teases him is a bit over the top, kind of like she's taking joy in putting him down. For George, hiding in plain sight, her comments could really hurt. Sure, this playful back and forth is typical in their world, but it also shows how Peppa's teasing can go too far. It's a little ironic and sad that a cartoon pig can showcase such a nasty side of sibling rivalry. We might all have a bit of Peppa in us when it comes to wanting to be the best, but her meanness really puts a damper on the fun of the game. Let's talk about Piggy in the Middle from Season 1, Episode 8. In this episode, the family gets together for a ball game, but instead of just having fun, Peppa turns into the ultimate tease. Seriously, imagine trying your best to catch a ball, and your older sister won't stop pointing out how bad you are at it. It's like she's got a whistle just to call out all of George's mistakes, and that's pretty harsh. Peppa's constant teasing really shows how tough it is for George, and while it's supposed to be sibling fun, it definitely crosses the line into meanness. For a little pig, getting mocked for not catching a ball probably feels like a full-on roast, and I totally get why George looks a bit left out. Sure, this is one of those everyday moments in the Peppa Pig world where teasing is seen as part of the game. But it's also a reminder that even jokes that seem harmless can hit hard. It's kind of wild that a cartoon pig can throw around such sassy comments. But it makes you think, where's the line between playful and just plain mean? Peppa really shows us that sisterly rivalry can sometimes go too far, even during a simple game. In Bicycles from Season 1, Episode 12, Peppa really takes it upon herself to mock George's bicycle. And honestly, it's pretty mean-spirited. While George is happily pedaling along, Peppa can't help but flaunt her own sleek ride, throwing shade by exclaiming that George's bike looks way too babyish. I mean, come on, she's practically broadcasting to the world. Yikes, your bike screams toddler. That's not just playful teasing, it's downright rude. What is most bothersome is how Peppa takes on that typical older sibling role, asserting herself as the ultimate critic of George's choices. It's George's beloved bicycle getting trashed. It's a reminder that not all teasing is harmless, and Peppa's comments certainly strike a chord in how we perceive sibling relationships. Let's take a look at Daddy Gets Fit from Season 1, Episode 42. In this episode, Peppa goes hard when she tells Daddy Pig he's fat, like really lays it on thick. It's pretty harsh to watch her roast him so bluntly. "Daddy, you're not fit." Honestly, it feels like she's channeling some sort of inner gym coach, but instead of offering support, she's just pointing out an obvious truth in the most brutal way possible. Daddy Pig isn't exactly known for his athletic skills. He's usually just hanging out on the couch instead of hitting the gym. But after Peppa's unfiltered remark, he decides to do something about it. He gets off his comfy seat, ties on his sneakers, and embarks on this whole getting fit journey. It's kind of funny, but also a bit mean. Like when a younger sibling throws some shade at your dad bod during dinner. Sure, it's all in good fun, but Peppa's honesty can come off as pretty cruel. Her comments might be adorable to some, but they definitely sting a little. And Daddy Pig's reaction shows that sometimes a kid's harsh truth can lead to unexpected, and honestly, a bit comical changes. Let's dive into The Quarrel from Season 2, Episode 95. In this episode, what starts as a fun card game quickly spirals into a major feud between Peppa and her best friend, Suzy Sheep. It's wild how something so minor can lead to such a big blow-up, especially when it happens at lightning speed. Honestly, Peppa's reaction is pretty mean and really makes you cringe. instead of just brushing it off or apologizing, she decides to throw their entire friendship away over a silly disagreement. Can you imagine being Suzy and hearing your best friend declare, "I don't want to be friends with you anymore," just because of a game? It's beyond harsh. Even though it's framed as cute preschool drama, it comes off as really cruel when you think about it. This episode captures that all-too-real moment when a minor misunderstanding turns dramatic. Peppa's meanness can really hurt feelings. Chloe's puppet show from Season 1, Episode 41, really highlights some of Peppa's not-so-nice moments. In this episode, Peppa and George jump in to help Chloe with her puppet theater. But rather than creating something sweet and innocent, they decide to roast Uncle Pig instead. Seriously, they go all out on making a puppet show that focuses on Uncle Pig's notorious habit of falling asleep when he should be awake. Just imagine it. While Chloe prepares for her big debut, Peppa and George are busy crafting a performance that throws Uncle Pig's napping into the spotlight. It's almost like they're saying, "Hey, let's embarrass Uncle Pig by showing how ridiculous he is." On the surface, it's meant to be funny, but when you think about it, Peppa's taking it a bit too far. It's kind of harsh. This whole scene is a perfect example of sibling, or in this case, cousin, humor gone wrong. Peppa's creativity shines, but so does her meanness, wrapped up in the playful tone of a preschool show. It's one thing to poke some fun, but Peppa definitely crosses a line here. Mummy Pig at Work, Season 1, Episode 7, really shows how Peppa has a way of turning a regular day into a complete disaster. Like, come on, it's classic toddler mischief taken to the next level. Picture Mummy Pig, all stressed out and focused on her computer, probably working on something important or managing calls, when Peppa barges in with her usual mix of curiosity and mischief. But instead of keeping her hands to herself, she decides to help, and ends up breaking Mummy Pig's computer.
Oh dear, the computer is not meant to do that.
Seriously? A broken computer because Peppa couldn't resist poking around. Some might brush this off as just a clumsy accident, but let's be real, it feels a bit mean-spirited. Just imagine being in the middle of an important work call and boom, your computer crashes because your kid finds it fun to disturb you. It's not like Peppa's trying to be a brat on purpose, but her actions sure bring some chaos into the mix, and it's tough not to see it as a selfish move. In that moment, it's hard not to feel for Mummy Pig, dealing with the stress of work while her playful little one wreaks havoc. It's one of those situations that's more annoying than funny. A clear reminder that Peppa's little adventures can have some seriously frustrating consequences for the adults around her. Best Friend, Season 1, Episode 3, might seem like a sweet little story, but there's actually a pretty mean undercurrent to the friendship dynamics. In this episode, Peppa is just thrilled to have her best friend Suzy Sheep over to play. Everything looks perfect, until you realize that poor George, her little brother, is being completely ignored. While Peppa is busy having a blast with Suzy and running their pretend doctor game, she doesn't even notice that George is sitting there all alone. It's almost like she's so wrapped up in showing off her best friend status that she forgets he even exists. Peppa isn't outright mean, but she's definitely showing her selfish side. So focused on her fun that she pretty much overlooks George's feelings.